Public is allowed to speak on issues or items not scheduled for discussion on the agenda. Comment should be limited to issues and items germane to the business of the governing body. Commission won't discuss or debate these items, nor will the commission make decisions on items presented during this time. Members of the public will be limited to 3 minutes for comments. Now it is public comment. Come on.
And my apologies.
Oh, that's all.
I haven't stayed so late at a meeting for a while. So I'm Marcy Francisco of No One, Ohio. I had talked with the commission, I think as well in public comment, and send a letter in November of 2021. And this is just to say that rental property should be required to have accommodation for sanitation service. This is currently not the case for a number of rental properties in areas served by trash dumpsters. Although the ordinance states in 6-1314 that it shall be deemed a violation of this article for any residential rental property to be in violation of the maintenance code, Article 4 of that code exempts areas served by trash dumpsters from most requirements other than charges for service. In 9-404G, it clearly states that only owners and occupants of dwelling units in areas not served by trash dumpsters are required to be responsible for providing collection sites that meet criteria established by the Director of Municipal Services and Operations Department. It is also the case that not all properties in high-density areas served by trash dumpsters are required to have site plans. I'm asking you to ensure that the requirements for shared sanitation collection be added either in Article 4 or Article 13 so that appropriate accommodations exist for both residents and our city sanitation workers. I had hoped that this might be an issue that could be resolved through the Land Development Code, but I am assuming that will at this point not be the case. It may not be able to be the case, but one thing that's interesting is right now congregate units are required to have trash, and those are units in our current code that said 5 individuals or above. We're now talking about a land development code that is going to allow 5 individuals in any dwelling unit. So I think through the development code, we've talked about parking.
Marcy,
we increase density, we will increase trash. I'm looking.
Oh, no, I got you, but it's the land development code was an item on the agenda earlier, so if you could.
And I was trying to explain that this was not going to be addressed in the land.
Okay. All right, just making sure.
Your rules don't even make sense to a sitting Kansas senator, man. I mean, that's the reality of it. There's no sympathy for her. The word sympathy is between shit and syphilis. That's all I got for Amber, because it's disrespectful what she does in here. Kind of like a sitting Kansas senator who will purposely violate somebody's First Amendment rights during a city commission meeting. Happened tonight. Purposely. And she even stated such vocally. Yeah. And you know, the thing is I voted for her over and over and over throughout the time that I've lived in Lawrence. You lost that vote tonight. I will never again vote for her because she disrespected the public for no reason. It had nothing to do with her, but she chose to do it. And she chose to disrespect the public in this room. Not only that, but you had all kinds of conversation happening back over here in the corner. We got video of it. You just ignore it. That's the disrespect of a Kansas senator. Somebody who sat in this room and using the same bullshit that you guys use. We've been in this room enough that we should know how things work. She should have known it was the city manager report. Is she not paying attention? She knows what my rights are, my First Amendment right to hold this sign and not have somebody purposely come up to stand in front of it and enunciate such. Not only that, but you let her and her friends block the entrance here. A fire hazard. All at the same time, Bart. I've been threatened with arrest for blocking that door. Sitting Kansas senator can do it. That's how it works in here, man. It's frustrating. Haven't cussed once. Did you hear me? During this public comment, I haven't cussed once. Did you hear me? Not kidding about that, brother. You lost it. Oops.
Yeah, what Michael just said there about Marcy Francisco is true. She stood right there and attempted to block Michael's sign there, and then have it on video where she told somebody that came walking up there that she was standing there on purpose to block his sign. So, question: a 20-year senator, Marcy, when you swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, does that include the First Amendment as well? Why in the world would you think it's okay to block somebody's protected First Amendment speech as they're trying to redress their government here? Why in the world would you think that you could do
Hey.
that as a senator?
Justin, can you go
along
ahead and
with that-
direct this way? Thank you.
Along with that, it's very interesting that Amber Sellers once again isn't here in this meeting, and
Oh,
is that my?
Not-
I think I.
No, that's
Yeah,
not my.
I didn't research.
okay.
I was saying it to Bart. I was saying it to Bart because he just
Okay.
had time.
Allow me a second to correct it.
Sure.
Okay.
I was gonna say the whole meeting's gone slow, but that 3 minutes went really fast.
I think we were about a minute 30, but
Minute 30. Okay, so once again, we see Amber Sellers has left the meeting here, and so talk about disrespect. She's above even sitting here. Listen, there's a Kansas State senator here. She doesn't even want to listen to that, and it just makes me wonder. Amber, since you're participating remotely, how would you like it if you went up to the state house there and you wanted to redress your grievances to Marcy Francisco here, and she just got up and left and didn't give you the common courtesy or the respect as a citizen with their First Amendment right to do that? Now, we've established that Marcy wouldn't give a shit about your First Amendment right to do that. She doesn't care. But that's a typical, that's a Democrat thing. That's a Democrat thing. Democrats don't give a fuck if you disagree with what they say, of what they stand for. So an opposing view there, Marcy just cannot stand it. Just cannot stand it. Has to block it. And I see that happen with like activists, like trans activists. They'll flock and try to block, so the block signs and stuff like that. But from a state senator to do that, it is just it's a sign of where the Democrats are. If that's your leadership, that's who you're voting for. If you're considering voting for that, just know that she would do that to you if you have an opinion that she doesn't agree with. She will block that as well. She does not care about the citizens' First Amendment rights.
We're at time.
We're at time now? All right.
Thank
we
you.
had one more public comment.
Let me go ahead and check and see if there's
Oh,
any
I'm sorry.
additional public comment in the room. All right, none. All right, online.
Okay, go right ahead. And I'm sorry, I don't remember your name from before.
Is this is Matt Michael? Is that who you're calling on?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And this is general
So once
public.
again, I will skirt the borders of the edge. So I love the comments that are being made. I appreciate you guys being patient with some of the comments that have been made about personal attacks on the simple execution of standards that you guys have been addressed with. One of the things that I'd like to have you consider is whenever you eliminate standards, such as some of the items that have been suggested today, it always increases costs for the municipalities in general. And so what are you replacing with those cost increases with, such as, addition of bike lanes or addition of, busing services, or you know, there was a municipality that simply said, we're going to fund all of the public transit in our community so that people can get to where they need to go. So eliminating standards always equates to cost increases for municipalities, and maintaining standards and holding ground when it's sometimes the unpopular demand ultimately saves money. But when one of the lessons I learned a long time ago was fiduciary does not immediately mean monetary fiduciary. Fiduciary equals trust with your constituents, trust with your town. And when we exude that trust, and you know, I've seen this tonight, individually, you all really exude trust with your constituents. I love that you listen. I love that you entertain the public comment. And I love that you meet with everybody. And ultimately, your decisions reflect that trust that the general public receives. So I thank you for your service, and I appreciate everything that everyone does, the public, the town, and whatnot. So thank you.
Dominique Sexton, if you want to provide public comment, you're going to have to accept my invitation. Dominique Sexton.
Sorry, I was turning my kettle on to brew some tea. Sorry, I didn't see that. But I just wanted to start by saying thank you everybody for being here so late. I can't imagine how exhausting it must be to hear so much public comment. And I'm thoroughly disappointed by some of the other public commenters here and how they're just using a couple of our commissioners and our mayor as targets for their thinly veiled racist attacks. And it's so disappointing to hear this and constantly have to hear about this. And I'm sorry, commissioners and mayor, that you have to deal with this. I wanted to talk about flooding and floodplain management, and that's also kind of a really bummer topic too as well, but I think it's something that's important to speak about. I just wanted to bring up that I think as commissioners, if you could suggest or maybe look into like climate forward solutions when it comes to managing our floodplains, or later when it happens, there's going to be rezonings in the floodplains. This is something that the FEMA has already approved. This is something that HUD is utilizing. Essentially, they're increasing the standards for floodplain development, making it harder to develop in the floodplain. So I think it would be really cool if Lawrence would also follow those initiatives and actually go beyond, because one of the selling points that we had, you know, talking about like the new Boston Crossing earlier in the year and earlier in the sequence of events before it got rezoned, was the fact that Lawrence had high floodplain standards. So I'd like us to continue doing that and have high floodplain standards, even higher than what the federal government is doing. So we aren't just doing bare minimum, because we see the consequences in Florida right now. We see the consequences in North Carolina of what flooding does. We saw the consequences earlier this year in Iowa and in South Dakota about how devastating floodwater can happen and how unpredictable it is too as well, and how communities feel safe from flooding because it's never historically happened there to the extent, and then it is now. We're currently in climate change, and it's kind of scary I'm only 30, you know, and seeing the future in front of me and seeing that we aren't doing as many protections as I feel like we should to protect our future and our current citizens. So I kind of wanted to put a little hope out there, like hopefully we could do this in the future, you know. Let's think about it now, because it's really scary to see all this flooding happening around me in different parts of the countries that historically have not received this flooding, and it makes me worried. We're between two rivers, you know, are we going to be next? So that's kind of just wanted to say it. But again, sorry you had to deal with like the circus tonight, as always. Hope you have a good night.
all the comments. Sorry.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I would like to get more information on the sanitation situation,
Mhm.
how it's potentially impacted with the new code and how it's handled now based on our code. If we could get an update, I'd appreciate that.
Okay. I would entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 4 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Good night, everybody.